Race number 2 of season 10 of the Night Owl Championship, brought to you live here on RCI TV. Hello and welcome to a very special broadcast brought to you by not only myself, Jesse Lee, on commentary, but also specially Ted Edwards, who is also on the commentary, but perhaps a bit more importantly tonight, also running the broadcast. Ted, there's a lot of flashing lights in front of you.
It's too many, Jesse. I can't handle it.
Ted will be doing double duty in place of our normal broadcaster who is away this weekend. Ted, this broadcast simply would not be possible without you. Thank you very much for taking on the responsibility. What does the flashing red button do?
I was told not to press that one.
I have a red button in front of me, but all it does is mute me. I don't think that's what that button does. Your one is flashing. Either way, we are here for round 2. We are in Bathurst, Australia. Welcome in wherever you are around the world, and welcome to Night Owl. It's always a exciting race, and certainly race number 1 a week ago was just that. What will we see tonight around the mountain? It's always a place where carnage can find its way in anywhere around this racetrack. But before we get to the race, there is the job of qualifying. 15 minutes to set the fastest lap. We have pro and high silver in the top split this season. And with race 1 in the rearview mirror, everyone now focused on one task and one task only. That's taming the mountain, Ted.
Yes, the mountain that we haven't seen for a while in Night Owl. It's gonna be fun, Jesse. I think. From what I've seen over the past few days, the weather can be a little bit temperamental here. But we'll have to see what comes in store for us today and for the drivers.
Well, it was raining in some of the practice servers. It wasn't raining in some of them. It's not raining here. It is completely clouded over. Very warm here. 30 degrees C on the track, 25 ambient. I would call that a very nice day. Not too hot for us Americans, but I think in the UK, you might disagree with that. No wind to speak of, no sun either. Flip of the coin, so to speak, for the weather. It could go either way. It's certainly been that. And I think a lot of drivers today will likely be on a mixed setup. They might not be here in qualifying, though, because they know qualifying is going to be dry. They might have slipped in the quick boy setup, if you will, for this session alone, and they might swap back for the race. But for right now, the job at hand, getting qualifying down. No qualifying more important than that of Martin Lawrence CLR. They have everything to lose, winning round 1, leading the championship in pro.
Yeah, Martin did an amazing race at Donington. Obviously, the M6 being pretty powerful there, so it had one up on the other drivers. But you know, there was other people who was as fast as well. And obviously, this guy here, Salvalainen, wasn't there for the first race, so we'll have to see what they do in the Mercedes. We don't really see many Mercedes around. Oh, in any chance really, I don't think, Jesse. I think it's been a car that's not been very favourable as recent. I know from taking it with World Tour, it's not the greatest of cars. It's a good car, but just can't get the speed out of it myself.
Yeah, it's one of those cars. It's fallen from grace. A year ago, you would have been talking about the top 10 being littered and dominated by the three-pointed star, and it's just not that case anymore. That car got a big nerf, and it has never really recovered. It has its moments, and it has its applications. I've certainly seen in the hands of fantastic drivers, even this week, in fact, with that car to do really well in Pro Series. I know a good friend of ours, Jordan Daly, put this very specific car on a podium around Spa this week. So it can go very well in the right hands. Savalainen, I would call that the right hands. A man who has won himself a couple of RCI championships in the past.
Yes, we've got some new people in here as well today, Jesse. We've got Will Stevenson is somewhere driving around the track, and we also have Alessio Meles join us as well. And Araton Stefano, I believe I said that right. They have joined us in the McLaren as well. So 3 new pro drivers that have joined us, and 1 in the silver Adam Bowers. I think they are here tonight. I think I am wrong. I am wrong. They have signed up, but they haven't joined us tonight. That's a shame, but there is some more people come in. I think there's some people come in the low split as well, so, you know, sign-ups are always open through the mid-season. Obviously, not during the race, they are closed. But you can always join up afterwards if you fancy doing some late night racing.
I can say that looks like Sebastian Stefano is in chat cheering on their son, Ayrton, in the race. That's great. I always love to see that. We saw that with the Ryan Meenans. We've seen that with the George Boothby family as well, among many others, of course. And it's always nice to have that family connection. We'll be cheering on Ayrton as well in this race. Hope that they do well in their debut tonight. Certainly looks like that could be the case. Well, it's going to be that kind of qualifying. You make one mistake, you have to reset. You basically take 4 minutes off the clock. So what you're going to have to do tonight is make every lap count. Get a banker lap in my opinion, Ted, and then go for broke on the second one. You can't afford to make any mistake, even in a 15-minute session around the mountain.
Yeah, no, that's the thing with Night Owl. That's the thing with Bathurst in general. You just can't make any mistakes. I've been around here a few times, and every single race I've had an incident with the wall. You know, they jump out at you, it feels like, but yeah, it's one of those tracks where you can go really fast, and the next minute a tyre gives way, or someone gives you a nudge, and yeah, you found a nice wall that gives you a lot of damage, and a track cut if you hit it hard enough.
We've seen it every single race, in and out, cars making mistakes, and here, every time it comes here, nobody is safe. Like you said, there's a car backwards there right before you get to the S's, and that's going to be dangerous in qualifying. It's going to be even worse in the race. There's no place to hide, even for the leaders. Just the other week, calling a race here, we saw the leaders hitting the wall, and it can happen to anybody at any time, and you'll likely see that today. Let's get you caught up. The first 6 minutes of qualifying down, a 2-minute .960 for Jonas Savalainen, that 100 AMG absolutely flying. Vitaly Dimitrov in the 70 Lamborghini in second place. Martin Lawrence, your championship leader, in third, a full second behind. Behind them, Alessio Mellis, Madison, your top five. We focus with Jordan Watson, the LFT driver, coming to the line. This looks like a pickup for the 147. How big will it be? We'll have to find out. A few hundredths gets him a spot, and he gets a lot more than that. A 2:01.482 P2, half a second off of Savalainen.
Yeah, that's a 10th in front of Dimitrov as well, so pretty good time from Watson there. Yeah, it's where's the really fast driver we have here, Jesse? Philippa. Where are they going to end up? Because yeah, I'm wondering if Savalainen can be beaten at this point. You know, a 2-minute .9. I believe that, you know, people can go faster here, especially these people who we call pros in this split. Pretty sure there is some speed. You know, they're sitting in the 1.4s, got some 2-minute 2s, and I'm pretty sure they can go faster than that.
Who are your fast drivers here? Well, they're all the fast drivers. They're in the top split. I think it's anybody's guess is what I'm getting at. And it's not his corner coming over Skyline that time. Whoever's in that white Porsche, that car has had a struggle to get through there. And unfortunately, a lot of times you don't get away with it. You try to abandon the lap and straight cut Skyline, and sometimes you get bitten by it. That was Benjamin Heilman. That's our good friend in the race, and he's had a he's had a
you
rough
don't ride
the
the wall.
Porsche.
Jeez, he was really eating that wall then.
Benjamin Heilman with an anime on the car. Feel free to chime in chat and let us know if you know what anime that is, but it is an anime on the car. I know what it is because he's told us what it is, but hashtag it happened again, the team name. He also had to explain to me what that is and why his team name is that as well. Heilman has a unique sense of humor, and we love him for it. Heilman, by the way, not our normal caster. He has not abandoned us to go racing. Ryan Mawson is away on vacation this week. He's not with us, and of course they're trading off, doing broadcasting duties on Saturday night. It's Heilman's season to race season 10, and that just leaves Ted and me in the booth. It is Night Owl, of course. We like to have a little bit of fun, and people in chat, you're automatically having a fun at my expense, which is completely fine. Merc got a big nerf. Merc fastest so far. Is that a reverse commentator's curse? Well, the laws of commentary, and Ted, you'll be interested to know this, and now that you're a full commentator, whatever you say, the drivers, the cars, and the gods will do the opposite to spite you. I'm sure you've noticed already.
I've noticed already, Jesse, the whole of last season was just, oh, this person's gonna come top and this person's gonna come here, and it was just, nope, this person did not come there, and then, yeah, it's just all backfires on you.
Well, we enter the final stage of qualifying. Everybody should be getting their best out of it now. 5.5 minutes left to play. Felipe Bokita goes second quickest, a 2-minute 9.67. Good enough for the Australian on home turf. Welcome home, Felipe, by the way. They have decided that that was the appropriate time to abandon the lap. I'm sure Felipe will be right back out, and in fact they are. After that reset, that leads me to believe that that was on purpose. They ditched it. They just didn't want to hit the brakes. They wanted to pull off the track before they did it, which is acceptable here in RCI. I know other racing series don't particularly like it when you do that. We have no preference here in particular. Ryan Yee, the back markers car, the car that should not be called the back markers McLaren, up to P5 with that lap. 3/4 of a second off of Savalainen, who now holds a little bit less than a 2/10 lead over Bokita. Savalainen a 2.798, the new mark to beat. Dimitrov third, Watson and Yee your top 5. Madison, Foch, Rogers, Hutchinson, and Martin Lawrence your top 10. I would not have guessed Martin Lawrence would be threatened for the top 10. I would have expected at least around the top 5, but we still got a few more minutes of quality to go.
Yeah, we've still got 4 minutes to go. It's about 2 laps if you start your lap now. Most of them won't, so they've probably only got 1 lap. Yeah, it's Bathurst is just difficult because you just want to push and push and push, but the problem is you can over push and then you're in a wall. So you got to try and restrain yourself that tiny bit, just so you can get a lap. Once you get a lap in, it's fine, and you're okay with it. You don't want to be too slow. You know, you don't want to start near the back where you don't think you should be, but also you don't want to end up hitting the wall every lap and then not being able to put one in and actually starting right at the back.
Oh, Ayrton Stefano is Argentinian, I'm pretty sure was what that flag was. So we've got an Argentinian driver. We have had Argentine drivers in the past, but it has been a while. So welcome Ayrton Stefano and crew, and welcome into Night Owl. That's kind of what Night Owl was supposed to be about, was to give the Americas, the drivers from the Americas, both North and South. I believe South America gets overlooked a lot, but just a wealth of sim racing ability in South America as well. And Ayrton here in the race, making their debut. It's going really well for him so far, up inside the top 10 already, threatening for more here.
Yeah, there's quite a few people in the top 10. Martin's just been knocked out in his 11th. Rogers is 9th now in the Audi, so he's not doing too bad actually. A car that he's only just jumped into, you know, I think a week or 2 before pre-Q ended, and going around Paul Ricciardo, I was watching him and he was struggling trying to not get the track limits, so he's doing pretty well in that. And then yeah, we got Watson, Ryan Yee, Madison up there. Stefano now, who's new, I believe I don't know if new to Night Owl, but new for me. Obviously we've got Savalainen, Philippa and Dimitrov. What, first, second and third, so I just noticed Savalainen's gone faster as well. He's got a 2-minute .550, so this guy is showing that the Mercedes is still a good car.
Yeah, earlier when I made my comments, I meant in general that car had a nerf, and I think it's very obvious a lot of places. Tonight, though, making me eat a little bit of a crow, so to speak. A 1/4 of a second improvement for Savalainen up front now with the 550, puts them back into a sort of a safety range. I know Felipe Bokita's quick around here, and I know that they can make fast race cars. I drove a car with a Filippo Bokita setup here and got a trophy because of it. So I do appreciate that, and never look past that. Race pace does not equal qualifying pace. We'll see what it looks like in the race. Of course, the track temp has got a little bit hotter throughout this session. It's gone up by 1 degree centigrade, so that will likely be giving the drivers a little bit of concern and bother, even though it was only 1C. Savalainen will not take further participation in the qualifying session. Says, have at it, folks. If you can beat it, you deserve it. Nobody close yet. Sean Madison, the Frog Stomp Racing Honda, which I don't know what to say about that other than be nice to frogs. Frogs are people too. But the car comes across the line, was not an improvement and only just missed out. Sean Madison, of course, also hailing from the land down under, and, well, would probably know this place very well.
So, yeah, not many people improving like a huge amount. Most are about a tenth or so. I see Foch is about a tenth, and he's just lost a load of time again. So it's just one of those. You know, you can get such a good, you know, get across the finish. First corner, first turn, second turn are good. Coming up the mountain is okay. And then it's when it comes down the mountain, it could just be the worst. And then you get, if you have a bad exit onto the back straight, and you just lose all your time. It's just wasted. So it's just one of those tracks where it will punish you for not doing very well.
There's a lot of Canadian drivers in Night Owl these days, and they all do pretty darn well, if you ask me, and all doing well here tonight as well. Martin Lawrence, by the way, back inside the top 10, P8 for that car, and they're still on a lap. Jordan Daly was 25th quickest in the Audi, goes 23rd with that lap, 2:02.605 for the Race Ventura 197. And that will be where they qualify for the race. I told you Martin Lawrence was still on a lap, and they are, and this might be an improvement for the CLR 171 BMW, the old BMW as it was. And will it be a nice pickup? It will not be. 2/10 slower, actually 1.5 tenths slower on the clock. Ryan Yee in the back markers number 7 comes to the line, an improvement of 2:01.180, stays in third position. And I believe there's only a handful of cars out. I know Alessio Mellis is still out there, one of our drivers that has joined us mid-season. Rafael Huel also on the track in the 721, looking to pick up from 26th place.
I see F. Siteman's done very well in silver for this race at least. They don't think they did round 1. I think they mid-signed up for round 2. So yeah, doing very well. A friend of the Alex Rogers, I believe.
Well, qualifying is finished for the day. Now just the task of running the race. Here is the results of qualifying. Savalainen with the quickest first sector of all on the pole position as well with the 2-minute 0.550. Filippo Bokita second, quickest of all in the second sector. Ryan Yee, quickest of all in the third sector. If you like parity, folks, you love that qualifying session. The top 3 drivers all having the quickest sector, and you mentioned something to that sort as well, Ted, about if you're good at one section of the track, you might not be at others. That's why we love GT racing. Dimitrov and Watson, your top 5. Hutchinson, Madison, Lawrence, Mellis, Stefano, your top 10. Foch, Rogers, Renoir, Wilson, Lavallee, Siteman, Stevenson, who has also joined us for the championships, Stachecki, Martins, Billen, your top 20, and the list goes on. Is Siteman on pole in the silver class? I'm pretty sure that is correct. In the number 9 Honda. Hondas always seem to do really well around here, doing well today for Siteman in their Honda as we get ready to go to the grid. Ted Edwards, you've ran a lot of races in your day, and you've ran a bunch of them here. What are the keys to success around Mount Panorama?
Just not hitting that wall. That's all it is. Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's just making sure to not over push your car. You know, you really want to get the most out of it. You know, in a race, you just want to hammer it as much as you can. But you just got to be patient, and that's one thing I've learned is you just got to sort of relax a little and just make sure your lap times are consistent and that you're not just overdoing yourself. It's very hard to do until you realize, okay, this is as far as I can actually push this car. But by the time you do that, you probably ended up in the wall. But yeah, you just got to sort of relax on this track. Is the main thing I can say to anyone is just chill.
Well, the last thing you want anywhere is a death grip on the steering wheel. It only makes things worse, folks. In fact, when you get driver coaching, a lot of times one of the things they tell you is loosen up on the wheel, relax, but also be very precise. Well, we showed you the qualifying results. Let's show you how the standings look after the first round of the championship. They will reflect the finishing order, no doubt. Martin Lawrence won race number 1 and has 36 points. Ryan Yee finished second, 29. Stachecki third with 25 points. Samir Fosh, 21 points in fourth place. And Vanko Dimitrov rounds out your top 5 with 18 points. Benjamin Heilman with 15 points. Watson on 13, Rogers on 11, Wouter Billin on 9, and Javier Marquez rounds out your top 10 with 7 points. Continuing the pro standings, Jade Hutchinson with 5 points, Flamger with 4, Miguel Martins on 2 points, Ryan Renoir with 1, and the rest do not have points for the season thus far. They'll be looking to get on the board today. Now on to the Silver Championship. Raphael Huell in the 721, 39 points. John Arazer with 29 points, who I didn't see in the field tonight. Ethan Scott with 25. That's your top 3. Dominic with 21. Rudy Philmalter has 19.5 points. And that's your top 5. Matt Artem with 18. Neil Pimlott on 15. Stefanos with 13. And nobody else in the silver class has points thus far. The silver class in this championship is broken up into 2 different classes. There's high silver and low silver, and we did that to differentiate silver from the AM class. So there's another split going on tonight. It's low silver and AM, but of course we broadcast the highest split, which is pro and high silver. So that's why there's a lack of silver cars. There's still 11 signed up, and a lot of them are here tonight. It's just that the silver class was split up into 2 in the interest of fairness. Seidman, who is on that list with a goose egg tonight, could do well for themselves in the silver class. Savalainen, though, Ted, finds himself in a very familiar spot out in front of this field. It's been a while for Salvo out in front. Can he get the job done today, especially with fierce competition behind from Bokita, Yee, and Dimitrov?
Yeah, Savalainen has always proved to us that he can do things in this Mercedes that some people can't. And he shows to us that this car is still competitive. So I think he can. But every time I said that about Savalainen, he always messes up and doesn't, do what we want. But I think Bathurst, you just sort of keep it wide and he'll be fast. I presume he'll be fast on the straights. The Mercedes is pretty good in straight line. Especially against the Porsche. Don't know about the McLaren, but yeah, he's got a good chance of doing it. I think Ryan Yee's got a good chance as well. I think most of the people do.
Ryan Yee's fighting for the championship right about now, isn't he? So if you take that into consideration, how much risk does Yee do knowing that Martin Lawrence is going to be mired back in traffic? That's his nearest competition. So what does Yee do? Does the Canadian driver try to charge to the lead here or get as high as possible or just try to settle into a groove? If I was him, if I was his driver coach, which I'm not, I'd probably tell him, find a gap and settle in. You might end up being the championship leader as we leave Australia tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those things because obviously Martin's in the lead, but Martin's sitting down in 8th at the minute. So he has to make his way through the field, which Martin can. He's in the M6. He just has to sit behind people through the mountain, and then on the straights he'll just boot his way through as an M6 does. Sitting in the slipstream, got all the power. but he's still got to get up there. I do see the 70 Dimitrov Lamborghinis up there. I don't think they did very well. I know they came fifth in the last race. Sorry, they did do very well in fifth, but I know they had a few problems. They lost a few places, but then gained some back. They're fighting for it. You know, Alex is the same. He's in 8th in the standings. He's sitting in 12th at the minute, so he want to get some more points. It's one of them. Also, obviously, all the newcomers as well. They want to get as many points as they can. So it's gonna be a good race, I think, Jesse.
Eagle-eyed viewer Tom Watts in chat pointed out something that you and I completely skipped over. Top 7, all different manufacturers: Mercedes, Porsche, McLaren, Lamborghini, BMW, Lexus, Honda. Incredible parity here at the mountain.
Yeah, Honda's very good around here. Me and Tom Bryant unfortunately didn't take part last year in the EWC race, but we knew that it's very good around here. And we sort of wish we had drove it, because it was back then. This is 1.7, so it was very good. And I still believe in 1.8. You know, all it is a bit of a physics change, and whatnot. So yeah, it's going to be quick. I think that's why Siteman's so far up in silver. Is just he's got a good, beefy, powerful car, and you know, because through the mountain you don't really tend to overtake people unless they make a mistake. You just sort of sit, and then on the straights is where you get the slip, and that's when you make your move. But yeah, we just have to wait and see. And I just noticed as well, Turn of the Valley is sitting with the Nissan in 15th.
Sure is. Just one correction earlier. I said it was Siteman's first race. It technically is, but he did not sign up mid-season. He was signed up pre-season. He just could not make race number 1. I was checking the stats there, and that pretty much covers that. They were signed up previously, but was unable to make the first round in the UK, but here in Australia, and making an immediate impact, getting bonus points. Of course, everyone racing in their class, silver, high silver that is, and pro, racing for their own championship, which means 2 pole sitters, 2 fastest laps, etc., and so forth. Folks, buckle in. It's night out here on RCI TV. Jesse Lee, Ted Edwards with you. A big thank you to all of you staying up late, watching tonight's race. It's going to be a good one, as they say. And a big thank you to all of our partners as well that make this race and every race possible. We'll hear more about them post-race tonight. But as for right now, it is going to be a mad dash land rush style start to Hell Corner. Sometimes it is rather anticlimactic. Sometimes it is, well, let's just say turn 1 lives up to its proper name. Through Murray's, heart rates will be up a little bit for Bokita and Savalainen. I have seen Felipa do some amazing things around here. Can Salvo make it to turn 1 quicker than Bokita can and cover up into turn 1? The easiest way to get out in front is just to beat people to the mountain straight. The green flag is out, and we are live here. Night Owl Season 10, Race 2 around the mountain, and it's a brilliant start by Savalainen and a good start by Bokita as well. Scrapping for 5th place in behind, 2 wide, several rows deep. No major incidents, no yellow flags through Hell Corner and the mountain straight. They've all got away with it here.
Yeah, I think only a bit of door rubbing was going on in turn 1, which is obviously a thing that will happen. You know, it's a very tight corner. People want to get through as quick as you can and get a position, but very clean so far. As I say that, I've probably already cursed it now, Jesse. That's what we do here. But
can't say that going into the cutting, Ted. You
yeah,
know that.
I know. But no, Savalainen's got already a nice little gap from Philippa, so see if he can keep it going. Obviously, you got to remember tyres might still be a bit cool, as we see the 144, the 49, and the 721, and the 414 is have all made something down there. That's
144 has had issues getting through what appeared to be Griffin's Mountain Reed Park. Let's see if we caught exactly what happened. This is the 414. Oh, yes, this was the big mess. That's Matt Artem in the 414, and I think the 144 also involved as well as they got to Griffin's Mount. They might have been crashing out of the cutting before they even got to Griffin's Mount.
Yeah, I think
this is Krzysztof Stachecki. This is the car I saw.
Yeah, this was the one that was back. Oh. Will Stevenson just missed that. Yeah, so they span round, which was a separate incident, and they were just dodging, and then made their own incident. Artem and the 49, I believe, and the 721 was in there as well. So I was surprised Will got away with that. It was right in front of him, so that was lucky from Will there. But some people will have to come in and do their pit stop. And talking about the pit stop, want to hear the requirements, Jesse?
I do indeed. Of course, Night Owl has the caveat that it is the RCI random season. It's the fun house of racing series. You never know where to look, or you never know what to expect. Of course, random requirements every season has a caveat. One of the more famous ones is random pit requirements for every race that are only announced day of the race. Ted Edwards, what are the random requirements for pitting tonight?
So as you see, the orange band on the right hand side of the driver's number on the left hand side of your screen, it would mean one mandatory pit stop that will require a 1 litre of fuel, a tyre change, and there is a 45-minute pit window, which I can't do quick math. It starts about 7 minutes into the race, I think, and ends 7-ish minutes towards the end. So people who've got damage will either have to try and hold on if it's not so much, but if it's too much, like the 721's already in the pits, so looks like they're going to just repair it and then come in for another stop later on. So that's hurt their race a little bit.
It sure has. And Stachecki in the 144, that was a big crash for the 144 because they're third in the championship. They had such an excellent round number 1. And today they are running second to last in the field. Of course, they do have a lot of time to recover and hopefully get some of those spots back. But keep in mind, only the top so many get points. So you would have to be a massive recovery at that to get back in the swing of things. Otherwise, they're going to take a massive hit today. You know who's not taking a massive hit? Savalainen and Bokita. They continue to lead this race. They continue to drag out the lead from Dimitrov in third place. That Lamborghini holding very tough indeed. Hutchinson up into P4 in that Lexus. That was a monumental start from Hutchinson as they have driven, was it 3 or 4 spots up into the field. Seb Brunier and Chad also pointed out those two BMWs that started inside the top 10, they're 2 different cars. One's an M4, one's an M6. And if you want to get pedantic about it, and I do because I love technical things like that, well, realistically, we had 9 different cars in the top 10, all the way back to Mellis, who started P10, because the 2 BMWs are 2 different cars. The only repeat car inside the top 10 were 2 McLarens. Incredible.
And Lexus. Bosch and Hutchinson.
Well, Foch started outside the top 10.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Jesse. I must have just ignored you right then. Forgive me.
No, listen. Ted Edwards, he's got a lot of buttons in front of him. He's running the show tonight. The show would not be possible without Ted Edwards' contribution. I'm talking at him. It's completely understandable. I mean, my own girlfriend ignores me when I talk to her. How can I expect you to listen to me anyway? But yeah, Foch had a good start. Went from 11th up to P10. Mellis has fallen outside that top 10. Madison is, I think they lost the spot. I'm pretty sure Madison has at least one of them. And the big mover is the Lexus up inside the top 5 at this time. Wouter Billen in 21st place, under fire from Jordan Daly. Daly did not qualify very well at all. They will have been disappointed with that effort from Race Ventura, but it doesn't matter how you qualify as long as you race well. And coming down through the chase this time, Billen on the defensive, can't get it done. The 197 of Daly is through. P21 for Jordan Daly up one spot from where he started. That's a start.
Yeah, it was a brilliant overtake, and as you say, he's not done very well. I think he's just getting used to the new Audi. I don't think he's driven the old, I say old Audi, the second Audi, the Evo 1. I don't think he's driven that either at all or very rarely. So I think he's just trying to get used to it. As you see, like Alex Rogers and Renoir. I think Renoir's been driving it a lot. Alex, I think, has been driving it a bit as well, but he's new to it for Night Owl. So they're just getting used to it, and Daly is just a little bit on the struggle bus, but he'll get there. It's just, it's just taking your time, and you get there. Like every time, when you first get ACC, you're pretty slow in most of the cars, and a lot of them you don't really drive often.
Well, it's about that time that we welcome in our live stewards as everyone getting out of sorts over the top of Skyline. Ryan Yee hoping to gain some spots back here in the 7 McLaren. Hutchinson jumping that car, and they're all still in a line together. But as we welcome in our live stewards, we're welcoming them in for a strange reason. Normally when we welcome in the stewards, it means that I'm about to give you a penalty report. Folks, I'm not about to do that on this occasion. I have been told by Elfa, one of our stewards that seems to be on every single stewarding that we do here, has told us suspicious and unusually clean start. I know they were working on maybe 1 or 2 things that they were looking at, but other than that, a really good start, uncharacteristic of a start here at the mountain.
Yeah, it's they've done quite well so far. I say so far because I've said this before. They've done really well, and they made me proud to be the one that hosts Night Owl. And then they've backstabbed me by having a load of crashes near the end of the race. So they've done so well so far. I'm covering my own ass here because they always like to bite me, but no, they've done pretty well. And everyone's sort of fanning out now, just sitting and waiting. And I think a lot of people haven't. No one's pitted yet, and I think that's because maybe they feel like rain could come. They've seen it in the practice sessions. Rain can come. I don't know if it will, but we just have to keep an eye on that weather widget at the top right there, next to the track and temperature widgets, and just see if those. It's very cloudy, so it could rain. Have to wait and see.
Rybecky from chat asks, no one died in turn 1, lap 1. No, nobody died in Hill Corner. It was 3 wide in some parts of the field. But beyond that, all contact there was inconsequential. There was a rather interesting couple of accidents after the cutting on the first lap, but that was definitely not turn 1. Of course, we are reading the chat as per usual, and if you have a question, go ahead and ask. We got Ted Edwards here running the cameras and commentating alongside me, and he outed himself as the what do you call yourself? The race admin, I suppose, for Night Out. I do have a question for you, Ted, as race admin. Why you always make race hard?
Because I like to see people in pain.
Okay, moving swiftly on from that, Ryan Renoir in 13th place, trying to challenge fellow Audi driver Alex Rogers, and that's a tricky situation Renoir finds themselves in because that's Wilson behind him in the 51 Honda. They're all in the pro class, and more here than a lot of other places, if you get out of line, if you try to make a move on the car in front, even if you do have the overlap, it can backfire on you. And a lot of times if you are in Renoir's car and you try to pass Rogers and it doesn't come off, Wilson's likely going to be set up to get around you as well. So a calculated move required. Rogers, of course, fighting his own battle. Nellis in front. That Ferrari qualified well inside the top, or just outside the top 10, or excuse me, inside the top 10, I should say, but it hasn't seemed to have quite the pace of some of the other cars, like Samir Fosh, who has pulled away, and now Rogers, Renoir, Wilson, and the like have all caught up. Ted Edwards we do have a penalty. We didn't discuss this pre-race. Who's reading the penalties tonight?
You can, Jesse.
Very well. Penalties coming in. We only have the one for you. Lap turn 22. There's 22 turns on this track? I don't believe that. Anyway, car involving car 183 and 99. 5-second penalty for car 99 for forcing the 183 off the track. Position not returned. I know they're looking at an additional incident, but yeah, that pretty much sums it up. We started with lap 2 in today's race. It tells you how well the race went on lap 1.
That's a night owl best. I'm joking. No, they done really well. And it was only off track, you know, forced off track. So it's not like someone got hit and spun round, or you know, it's just, you know, just a bit of movement. I see someone's off. That's Will.
Let's see what happened here.
Oh, he's still stuck. I wonder what.
Oh, yeah. That was not a paused video. That was because this particular car was around the
Will.
And Will Stevenson finds himself in the classic Austin Powers position, coming down through the S's.
Oh no!
And
I want to see what happened. Let's see if I can get it.
He elected to. It looks like he just lost it coming down the hill, as so many drivers will do. And unenviable, but looked to be far enough back in the pack that they could have got the car. Oh, you know what that is? You know what's going on there? The suspension is damaged, and it's not allowing him to turn around the car properly.
All right, I see. Yeah.
That's why he gave up. I thought it was suspicious that he gave up, because he's turning the car, and one wheel. Well, I can't accurately tell you which one it is. The right front looked pretty poor, if you ask me, but something on that suspension has snapped, and just decided to tow and save everybody a headache. We have had that happen before, haven't we, Ted, where a car limps around in front of the lead group and it causes absolute mayhem. Will Stevenson electing not to have that calamity here tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately I couldn't get the whole replay because I went 25 seconds and then I went a minute after that, so unfortunately I couldn't get that, but he must have just smacked that wall pretty hard. And I wonder if he'll carry on. I know that would put me off. You've been sat there a while, can't get the car turned around. He's gone back to the pits. He'll probably be on like a 2-minute wait timer as well, because it would be the tow. So we'll just have to wait and see. He's still sat in the pit lanes, but it's just one of those things that you just don't want. And it's like I said, he might have just gone a bit too quick early on and just tried to forcefully make the car go through the corners as fast as it can. You know, the McLaren is a car that requires downforce, and so you've got to really get it through the corners with somewhat speed, and he's maybe just pushed it a bit too much, or he's just caught a curb or caught something wrong, like the brakes, and locked up, and it's just sent him into a spin or whatnot. Very easily in that downhill section to just lose the rear, and it steps out, and then you just slide into a wall and you can't stop it. So it's unfortunate, but these things happen around the mountain.
I will say, I made a comment earlier, I did not think there were 22 corners around here, but in fact there's 23, Murray's of course being the final turn, and I thought that was a bit suspicious, so I looked it up, but also Seb Brunier has also provided me with a track map, we'll say. They count every single kink in the S's as a turn, instead of just calling the S's and turn. Every time it switches back, it's considered a turn. There are 7 turns in about, I don't know, what do you reckon that is, 25 meters?
Yeah,
less than that, actually, now that I think about it. It's a
not
lot
long.
of turns. And that's where it was tripping me up, because I counted it a few times by hand. And of course, unofficially, I don't know anything. I'm just here in the box to talk. But I counted about 17 corners. And, well, I figured out where the extras have come from. Every single kink in the S's after Skyline is considered its own corner. The more you know.
Yeah, so we've had one person pit so far that I can see. We've had a few people that pit. Sorry, we've had Tyler Jason Novelli, we've had Benjamin Harman, Javier Marquez, Christoph Stachecki, and obviously, well, Christoph and Huel had damage. Huel pitted as soon as they had damage, so they haven't completed their pit stop. From what I can see. Yeah, there you go. They're all green. Oh, so Huel has done their repair stop and a pit stop to get rid of the mandatory. So 5 drivers completed, and we still see Will sat in pit lane. So I feel sorry for that guy. It's just one of those things. Mountain takes prisoners.
According to Seb Bernier in chat, I was actually quite close with my 25-meter estimate. That is about the length of the S's before you get to Forest Elbow. I could do the metric system, people. Benjamin Heilman, I thought, had damage on the rear of that car, and quite embarrassingly so. He doesn't have damage on the rear of the car. He's just got anime on it. It made it look like it was damaged.
Yeah, that is... Yep, that is that.
It looks like whenever a car gets rear-ended in ACC, it scuffs it up. And from a distance, which is what I glanced up at the monitor to see, it looked like it had rear impact damage. It's just girls. He's got girls on the back of the car, and it messed with my brain for a second. Miguel Martins, the DCC Motorsport car, out of the lane, complete with their pit stop this evening. Several cars electing to get it done early, trying to do the undercut. I always favor that, really, in a race like this. If you're stuck in traffic, get yourself out of traffic, and maybe as a plus, complete the undercut later if some of your competitors you're racing against are indeed electing to continue. I will say Alessio Mellis has had a struggle. That car has not only fallen outside the top 10, he's being chased down by cars behind him. He might be under threat to fall outside the top 15. Something with the longevity of that number 15 Ferrari, not to Mellis's liking today. Savalainen has the Speed Juice Fastest Lap of the Race award and has put a gap on Felipe Bokita in second. Nearly 4 seconds that gap now, as Savalainen is absolutely flying. Dimitrov has actually caught Bokita, and it's now under 1 second, catching them at 2 to 3 tenths a sector was Dimitrov in that Lamborghini. Hutchinson in fourth, Ryan Yee, your top 5. And Martin Lawrence hanging in 8th place. That was your championship leader coming in. If I have done the points correctly, which I'm notoriously bad at doing, I have done the math, though, as you might expect. And Ryan Yee is technically, as they run, your points championship leader.
Ooh. Yeah, I just noticed Savalainen's fastest lap is a 2-minute 0.8, and Bokita's is a 2-minute 1.5. So that's 7 tenths difference in the fastest lap. So Savalainen is just going for it. It might be doing half fuel, Jesse. Bit of half fuel and just burning those tyres as quick as you can. So just to see, and looks like the 19 Flanders sort of got himself in a bit of a pickle here. See, there was a yellow flag out. Let's see what happened here. Did he catch the curb? Oh! Uh-oh. Oh, he didn't catch the curb.
Oh.
The car in front caught the curb and then caught him, and...
Was that Rudy Philmalter? I'm unsure who he had contact with, but Flanger pays a huge price for that as well. It's hard to say which one got it worse. I would say it's about even, to be fair, but the Audi that was definitely in front, I want to say that was Rudy Philmalter, but I have no reason to believe that, other than I thought I saw a FIL on the... Yes, it was the 99. That's unfortunate. Rudy just getting loose on the curb, and Flamger paying the ultimate price. If I had a nickel for every time Timothy Flamger found himself in a position like that, well, folks, I wouldn't be here in the commentating position tonight. I'd be retired on my own island somewhere. Timothy just seems to find trouble completely by accident. Siteman leads in the high silver class over Eraser in the 699, who I earlier may have mentioned, but I didn't know was in the race tonight. I do apologize for that, John, as you're very much in contention for a podium here. So is Matt Artem in the 414 Audi. Those are your top 3 positions in high silver. And speaking of Artem, they're in the pit lane.
Yeah, and just noticed someone had a drive-through, Jesse, which was not awarded by the gate, I don't believe. We had any more penalties come through?
Yeah, we sure have. Going back to lap 1, there was a couple of things that they did investigate. Lap 1 involving the 62 and the 123, warning for car 62 for avoidable contact. Lap 1, turn 6 between the 144 and the 35. No further action. The 144 could have left more room for the 35, which was avoidable, but since the 144 lost out as a result, no further action. The stewards determining that that incident sorted itself out, basically. Lap 1, turn 6 between the 49, the 721, and the 414. Drive through for car 49, failing to slow down sufficiently for waved yellows, causing a takeout of the 721, following contact between the 49 and the 414 racing incident. Still the same lap, still the same turn, another one, 49, 721, 414, warning for car 721 not holding brakes after an accident. And additionally, lap 1, turn 4 between the 99 and the 62, a warning for car 99 for causing avoidable contact. That was quite a few bit, and that was all in the section we saw the calamity occur in. Beyond that, looked pretty good.
Yeah, it's as I say, so just some people getting a little bit loose, and you know, things happen. Just racing, but some stuff is, you know, drivers can help it. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I stick by the steward's decisions with any incident that comes my way or comes to someone else's way. You know, if the stewards feel like they deserve it, then I agree. So, and most of the time, well, I think all the time they get it right, Jesse. So
I will tell you that as a driver, there will always be instances that I disagree with. That doesn't mean that I don't respect the decision. It's just that I have a differing opinion. And when you're involved with it, of course, sometimes you do. As a broadcaster, well, I now know how the other half live, and you do rely on the stewards a lot to kind of help you understand what's going on. We have a replay system. Obviously, we use it all the time, but we don't have the telemetry, the angles, and all of that to go with that complements that. So we don't know the full story. Only the stewards and the drivers involved do. But I can tell you, I've had penalties before I absolutely disagreed with, but that did not mean for 1 second I didn't respect the decision. All the drivers know what's on the line. They know what systems are in place. And what is that old saying? You gotta build sandcastles in your own sandbox. Otherwise, somebody else is going to own your sandbox, so to speak. Long-winded way of saying you got to play within the rules.
yeah, I just noticed there's someone in chat. I would try and say your name, but I'll probably butcher it and make you feel sad. So they say they seem to have some jinx and magic. Let's try Hutchinson again. Really good position here, looking good on pace, and he is. Yeah, he's sitting in 4th, Jesse, in that Lexus. And I know one thing. I've driven the Lexus around here, well, last year now. A bit a while ago. Game's changed a little bit, but I know this car was fast. Like on that back straight, nothing could catch you. We had a Mercedes sat in our trying to get away from Watson, which can be quite hard, but you know, gotta believe, and you'll achieve.
I do fear Night Owl is getting a little bit of a reputation. Our own audience is now trying to commentators curse them because they're technically commentators. They're commenting on the race they're seeing, which makes them commenters, right? They're trying to get the curse working on several cars. That is dastardly, I would say. It's interesting, though, as a science experiment. Let's find out if it works. Vanko Dimitrov in the Lambo Tractor version 1.1 in the pit lane. By far and away the highest of the cars that have pitted so far, pitting out a P3 routine service for the 70 Lamborghini. You would expect a little over half the race still left to go. And I wonder next time around, Ted, if that will trigger anybody else coming into the pit lane as a response.
Yeah, it's normally, I think it's a little bit different for pro drivers sometimes. I know if you're in a lower class, you sort of try and follow the people in front of you. So if you see someone that you're fighting with, or whoever's behind, in front, whatever, you see them going to the pit, you're like, right, I must need to pit then. If they're pitting, I should pit, sort of thing. Whereas I think the faster guys who've done the racing a lot more, they sort of know what they're doing. They sort of have a strategy they want to stick to. But unless rain comes, or the tyre pressures start going down, or for some reason they start losing a bit of fuel, or have a bit of damage, then they change it. But they sort of stick to a strategy, as you can see. So Dimitrov's come in of the top runners. Will anyone come in this lap? It's sort of one of those things. I don't think Salvalainen will. I don't think Philippa will. So it's either Hutchinson, Watson, or Lawrence might come in. Obviously it'll be an overcut now, whereas Dimitrov's gone for an undercut. So it's one of those things where you've got to try and think of your strategy while you're trying to race. It's very difficult unless you have someone in your ear helping you. But as we see, no one is coming in as yet. The 726 Hutchinson is in, so maybe that triggered him, and Watson's in as well, so Watson might have just followed Hutchinson in. So, and then here comes Renoir as well. We are watching on the screen, so
it did trigger a response, I think, is what we can get from this. Hutchinson and Watson, and now Foch, Renoir, all in. It has triggered a response. I agree with you, though, Ted. Savalainen doesn't need to do anything. If I was Salvo, I would stay out as long as possible, and I suspect that is the strategy as the leader of the race, just to stay out as long as humanly possible. Can I just say, there is something going on in chat that is interesting, to say the least. I won't say if it's good or bad. Chat is actively trying to jinx racing drivers on the track. Incredible stuff. They're saying that Savalainen never gets drive-through penalties for track limits. I'm going to try and counter your jinx by saying Juna Savalainen will not get a drive-through penalty in this race. I don't know if I helped or made it worse. We'll find out, though.
I see Will's in there. As we know, Will he's not in here anymore. He has pulled that garage door down. I'd like to hear from Will why he's not carrying on. I think I know why, Jesse. How he ended up was not a good situation, and all that time trying to get the car around is not fun. I've been there, and it's the worst. Luckily for him, he didn't have anyone that had to try and dodge him, because I've had that and I've been hit, and that makes it even worse. So I think Will got off all right there. Obviously, he still went back to the pit lane just because he couldn't get the car turned around, so that still hurt him. So yeah, it sucks, but there's always next race.
It's not how you want your race to end, and you get suspension damage or whatever was damaged on that car, and it makes it a lot worse. And being sideways on the track, you have a limited amount of time to make a decision. I personally think Will made the correct decision. We've seen that go both ways, and this particular way that Will Stevenson decided to go did not create further incident. It unfortunately ended his race when he did that, but discretion, the better part of valor, and all of that being what it is, I think that was the right decision. Incident on lap 9, turn 20, involving cars 49 and 60. Warning for car 49. Let me read this out loud, folks, because this doesn't make sense in my head. No blame for the contact can be put on a single driver, and contact appears as minor. number 60 does leave a car's width space on the outside. Warning for car 49 is for blue flag infringement. Stewards expect the lapped car to let others between turns 18 and 20. I see. So they gave him a warning for blue flag infringement for not letting lead lap cars through on the straightaway. Okay, makes sense now.
Yeah, it's the thing is, when you're a back marker, you've got to, especially around this track, you know, it's a tight track. As we see, the 77 has decided to interrupt me. Where is this? I can't see where the 77 is on my thing. Oh! That is
Salvo
third
just
place.
came down the pit lane.
Third place is backwards coming, what's that, Skyline?
Ayrton Stefano, that is Skyline, and he is bumping into the wall backwards down Skyline. Third place in the race, was running somewhere inside the top 10 prior to the pit stop cycle. They got that car going again, but was stationary for quite a long time. That's going to definitely hurt their run. Their debut was going so well up until that point. They're still running fourth, but the good news is they still have a pit stop to give. The bad news is they're going to be there longer than they intended fixing that damage. That car is crunched. He must have hit something with the front of the car, Ted, though, because just scraping the wall like that would not have messed up the nose of that car had he not had a frontal impact. We only saw him scraping the wall, so there must have been something more to that. Maybe nosing the wall before ending up backwards.
Well, I know just before Skyline you have that gravel trap on the right hand side with the curb, and that curb, if you catch it with two wheels and you know the curb's in the middle of your car, it will unsettle your rear end if you're still turning, and maybe they just spanned the rear round and that's how they ended up going backwards alongside the wall and just slapped it, and yeah, that's what I'm guessing. Fortunately we can't go back on it because that was pretty lengthy crash they had, so that's unfortunate, and yeah, so it's one of those things.
I'm forced to believe Sebastian Stefano is Ayrton Stefano's father, and I don't know if Sebastian Stefano is still watching. I would love to know if you named your son after the great Ayrton Senna. I would love to know if that's it. Seems likely, considering all the the motorsports and all that, but I would just like confirmation on that, and if so, what a beautiful tribute that is. And now to see your son racing. Unfortunately, it's been an unfortunate lap for Ayrton here on this particular race course, but before that, a lot to be proud of and a lot to consider going forward in this championship for us as well. If they're going to continue, if Stefano is going to continue to be that quick. Jordan Daly leading the race by virtue of being the last car to make a stop. And if you're trying to get your team and your name on the television, this is a perfect way to do it. Pit late. I have no doubt that this was the strategy to begin with, but now has decided to come in and make a pit stop. The last car in the race to pit, the Race Ventura 197. And I will say, strange days here, seeing some of the entire field, in this case, I should say, come in well before the end of the pit window. There were still 17 minutes left in the pit window, and every single car has done their mandatory stop. I can't tell you I've ever seen that in, well, I was going to say this season, but I meant this year, 2022. I'm sure I have seen it at some point, but for whatever reason, 2022 has vastly favored the overcut, going as long as you can into the stop. That hasn't been the case here today, as every car has made it to the pit lane. Ted Edwards, you're looking for something. What you looking for?
I was just doing some technical stuff. Some stuff broke. It wasn't me.
Oh, I see. Well, you were looking for the Doors. What you were looking for, Dimitrov, we rejoined them. They did get past Bokita in the pit cycle. Dimitrov was catching Bokita and had caught up, but by virtue of the stop. Dimitrov finds himself in front, but Filippo Bokita has a ton of speed right now. Thinking about going side by side in a skyline. Thought better of it, and rightly so. Down through the S's, nose to tail, all over the back of Vanko Dimitrov. Unrattled and unfazed is Dimitrov. Ice water in his veins. I would have pulled over by now, personally. But that's incredible driving by the two of them over the top of the mountain this time.
That's it. It's fun racing this close, but when you're the car in front, you see the car behind just trying to go each in every direction just to try to get past you is pretty scary, especially around Bathurst, coming down that mountain. And obviously, Filippo's trying to get around, and you know there's a big old Lambo in the way, and you can't, when you're that close, you can't see past the car. I think that's why they were moving around so much, just to try and see where am I on the track. Oh, I'm here. I need to start braking and making sure I'm not going into the back of this Lambo. So very well driven from both of them. It's amazing to see. Several only got damage.
Did you see? I'm unsure about that, but did you see Filippo move that car under braking going down to the skyline? For a lot of drivers, that would be an issue. And we're talking about damage potentially on Savalainen's car. What do you see, Ted?
His front bumper's all scratched up. Now, earlier his car was fine, so he's scraped a wall, or he's tapped someone on the rear. It could be a back marker. I would presume so, because he's way out in front. But it could just be on our end.
He's not that far out in front.
Well, no, he's only 4 seconds. It's gone down actually, hasn't it? It was a bit more.
I think you're onto something, Ted. That car might be damaged, and that's going to affect the aero of that Mercedes AMG quite heavily. And even though Dimitrov and Bokita are locked in a fight for second place, this might become a fight for the lead. We'll continue to watch this as we monitor potential damage on your race leader.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. See if his lap times aren't up to his standard that he normally does. You know what we've seen him do around here at the minute. But yeah, as soon as you damage the front of that car, it starts understeering, and it's the worst thing ever. It's just so you can't get it through corners properly, and it is pretty stressful because you lose a lot of time. The Mercedes isn't the greatest to get around corners. It's mainly you get your speed. It's the torque on the exits is the good thing about it, and it can ride a bit of curb here and there. So yeah, Savalainen's lost another 3 temps. So is this pretty bad damage? Has he pitted at the wrong time?
I have no idea. One thing, unfortunately, we have a lot of battles on the track. We don't want to break away from live pictures. Otherwise, we would do exactly that. Go back and try to find the exact point of contact for the 100. And I suspect, and I fear, that the 100 has had contact with a wall somewhere on cold tires or something of that sort, because I don't believe it was contact with another car. And we've seen the track bite several people today. Not biting these two. Dimitrov in the Lamborghini leading Bokita as they continue to race each other quite hard. Nearly 3 abreast now coming up the straight. And my goodness, it is a gaggle of cars here. And this could go very wrong if any of these put a foot wrong, but they're not going to. Swooping out from behind is the BMW, trying to make a pass around the outside. Can't quite do it, has to get back in line.
I'd just like to say, all these cars are fighting for position.
Yeah, that's true. That's Martin Lawrence, I believe, leading that pack of cars. I've also been informed that I believe it's Miguel Martins they were referring to. They have been involved in a crash, and that would echo why they are not on the scoring board that I can see right now. So Miguel Martins has had an incident. Martin Lawrence inside the top 10, trying to make this day a little bit better and salvage some points, is now under fire for 10.
Martins is no longer with us. He's put the garage door down on his car today.
Don't say things like that. Say They've retired from the race.
He's gone. He's run away. He's gone for a burger. Oh no.
Miguel Martins is still with us. He's just retired from the race.
Sorry, I forgot what
You said he was no longer with us.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I didn't. Jesse, we have some penalties come through.
Yeah, and I think one of them's going to be on you in the box.
Oh, God.
Well, again, Ted has a free pass tonight. He's working double duty, something he's never really done before here in this capacity. We'll give him a break. Lap 10, turn 5, 99 and 16, racing incident after the 99 lost control and makes contact with the wall and collects the 19. Lap 15, turn 21, involving the 34 and the 49. 15-second penalty, car 34, taking out the 49. Lap 17, turn 23, involving the 171 and the 726, racing incident, minor contact. And lap 17, turn 22, involving the 34 and the 49, a warning for car 49, not leaving sufficient space for the 34. That second warning for the car 49, that means that's converted into a 5-second penalty. Can't quite tell you if the 34 and the 49 are having a lot of fun. They're certainly getting very close and making contact, though.
Yeah, also just noticed the 34 has gone as well, has left the circuit, so I think that's 3 cars gone, unfortunately, but we still have, there's another car gone as well, Jesse. We still got 25. We still got a good grid, so it's unfortunate to see people leave the race with only 16 minutes left, but these things happen. Bathurst is pretty stressful, especially when you start bouncing off all walls. It can get so frustrating, and I don't blame people that just wanna leave early. I've done it before. It's not something to be proud of for me, but you know, if you need to leave, then you need to leave. But yeah, we still got a good race going. There's still this gaggle of cars that are in this nice train. Oh, that's a weird move from Martin there. But
Tyler Jason LaValle having to hit the dirt there. Did not expect the BMW of Martin Lawrence to slow up as much as it did. Rogers did get around Lawrence. LaValle got around Mellis. Mellis's day continues to go in the wrong direction in that Ferrari. They've held it together, to Alessio's credit, and they've stayed in the hunt, and they still very much are, but it just feels like that car outmatched on every straight. I wonder how much wing that car's running. And they have the GTR, the 35 Kaiju racing car, inside the top 12. I like the name of that car. Godzilla himself is a kaiju. I think a kaiju is a Japanese for like big monster, I'm pretty sure. I'm not listen, I'm not up to date with that thing. I know of an anime, okay? So, but I'm pretty sure that's what a kaiju is. Kaiju is like a big monster. Godzilla's that car's Godzilla. I love alliteration, and I love team names with double meanings. And Jason LaValle in that GTR getting it done around the mountain. The very place that made the Skyline very popular.
It's nice to see the Nissan in a race, because you don't really see it a lot. Because it's not a great car around a lot of the tracks. It's probably one of the weakest GT3s around over half the tracks we have. Some people can drive it very well. Some people can do amazing with it. As we see Tyler here doing bits in 12, you know, I wouldn't have thought the Nissan would be in 12, but we have seen it before go around here. I think it was back in our 12-hour Bathurst. We had a few people in them, so it's nice to see. And here's Stewie getting overtaken by a Seal. That's not going to stick with Stewie.
Well, Benjamin Heilman, who we call Stewie, he's a very prolific broadcaster for us here at RCI TV, races when he can, and he's super fast in the Porsche usually. He was complaining to us privately, you and me, wondering where the speed went. He was doing really decent laps. He came to the racetrack here tonight and everything completely changed. And the speed has left the car. It's a mystery to him, and it's a mystery to us as well, because we know this is not the pace of the 796. Siteman, though, getting the pass done in that car. What just happened, by the way? The 35 Nissan GTR of Tyler Jason LaValle, that car has fallen all the way back to P16. Now, that car was in 13th or 12th place, and I think we are going to be able to show you what happened. No, that's after the fact.
Oh,
They're
this
already
is
at the back now.
This was ages. This is 30 seconds ago, so this must have been a while ago. He really just
It
left
certainly
him.
happened on. I know it happened on that lap,
Yeah.
and we left him just as they started to go up the mountain. So something amiss at the top of Mount Panorama
Maybe I had
has
to take
led
to
them
this.
to 16th place.
Yeah, maybe they had to take to the little slip road that we have coming out of Skyline here. You'll see there's a little road, very bumpy if you come fast. Here it is. You have to go really slow over it. Actually end up in that wall at the bottom. But maybe they had that, or they just locked up the brakes, or I don't know. There's no damage on the car that I can see, so they haven't spearheaded a wall, you know, at max 6. Which can happen, which is not fun. But no, the car seems fine. Just dropped back. So yeah, very surprising.
Question from the chat. Rybecky asked, what happened to Lawrence? Well, nothing that we can distinctly tell you about. There was minor contact with another car, but they didn't qualify particularly well, as far as I remember. And beyond that, they've been running about where they are, flirting with the top 10, but that's about it. The 171, it's not been a favorable track for them. And I think they did qualify just inside the top 10, as memory would serve. But beyond that, yeah, they're sort of racing where they qualified, I'm afraid. It's not been a perfect day, but these are certainly the kind of days where even if you get a decent finish and you win a championship, which what Lawrence is fighting for, you think back to, man, I finished 10th that day and it was a struggle, but I needed that finish. And that could be the case today. You never know. Digging for every spot is the CLR driver. It's been a rough day for CLR as well on the mountain. Jade Hutchinson, though, the complete opposite story, as the 726 car has driven very well. The two Lexuses, oh, here we go again. Lexus, Lexi, Lexi, Lexus. Those two cars find themselves together for the first time in the race. And if you have watched any of our endurance races around here, you'll know that actually tends to happen. The Lexuses, Lexi, Lexi, they always find each other, and they have done on this occasion as well.
So there was a penalty you just added there, Jesse.
There sure was, and it's a big one as well. Turn 19, or excuse me, lap 19, turn 22, shows that I can read, involving the 147, the 49, and the 34. Stop and go 10 for car 49, turns into the corner with lapping the 147 alongside, causing multiple car takeout. Additional information, disqualification for car 49 for reaching the maximum license points for a single race. They will be allowed to continue next week, but they are done for the day. Lap 19, turn 2, involving the 171 and the 726. I think this is what we were all waiting for. There was something that happened to the 171. Here it is. Drive-through penalty for car 726, taking out the 171, position not given back. I'm not done yet. Lap 20, turns 1 and 2, involving the 171 and the 34. 5-second penalty for car 34 for avoidable contact under blue flags. Ted Edwards, danger in Skyline again.
Yeah, I've got a minute back. I'm so sorry. I pressed it. I went longer than shorter this time. But yeah, we see.
It's perfectly fine. Talk us through this.
So we see Philippa just get. I was looking at something else. So this is. I saw them backwards, which caught my eye. I'm not sure what course. I'm guessing they went wide. just before Skyline, where I forgot what the corner's called, but you go wide and you catch the curb near where the gravel trap is, and I'm guessing that's what happened, and just
That's
unsettled the
McPhilly
rear.
Park.
Is that what that is? So there
Sure
it goes.
is.
And we're coming up to it now. It'll be the next corner over here. I'm guessing the rear, it's just rear went on the under braking.
Nothing there. That going down Skyline. This is exactly what I was talking about. Filippo Bocchita backwards in Skyline. I said that earlier. I was super impressed that Bocchita was able to undulate and maneuver the car around earlier like they did, simply because it is so frustrating to try and do that with this car, because it completely unsettles it. You end up backwards, and this time it has bitten the RAG Esports driver in Filippo Bocchita, as they have ended up backwards, and that will completely nullify their fight for second place. Additionally, Hutchinson in the 726 Lexus, their good run is going to come to an end as well. Samir Fosh will take over that spot without a contest, because drive-through penalty for the 726, like we said, that car has and is serving that penalty. It's all kicking off. By the way, Dimitrov is under 3 seconds to Savalainen. Savalainen has 7 minutes and a couple of laps left to hang on to win this race. If Salvo hangs on to win this, it is going to be mega. Filippo off the track again.
Yeah, Filippo's trying their hardest. They're stuck behind that 70 for so long, and now I think it's just got to them that, I've only got, I think it was like 9 minutes left, 8 minutes left when they had the incident. It hit the wall there, I think. Yeah, just trying to push it, just to try and get that place. Second is a lot more points than third, and yeah, it's pretty devastating to see them spin like that. But kept it off the wall. That was very well done.
Sure was. Close racing here. I want to point something out. We don't normally talk about this kind of thing, but I think it's important here. As all know, we're not going to talk about it right now. The 7th place car, the 147, into the wall in Forest Elbow. They're going to probably end up 3 wide here. That BMW now damaged. They file out to 2 wide as they clear the damaged car, losing several spots now for that BMW. A scary moment. Could have been a bit worse, though.
Yeah. Shall I just not click on anyone else? Because I feel like I click on people and it starts spinning.
It's absolutely the curse of the broadcaster, Jordan Watson, absolutely feeling the wrath of Ted Edwards tonight. Now, what I was going to say was, we don't usually talk about this, but the 49 who was just disqualified actually left the race before the disqualification was handed out. It still will count as a DQ. But a bit of sportsmanship here. The 49, driven by Javier Marquez, apologized to the stewarding department in full for causing them workload tonight, for being involved in accidents, self-admitting that it was a sloppy race. And my hat's off to Javier for that. You don't see that a lot. I just wanted to draw attention to that. I don't know if he wanted that to be public, but I do apologize, Javier, otherwise. But I personally, I'm not a steward, but I do appreciate the humility in saying, putting your hands up, going, my bad, and we hope to see you back next week.
It's just one of those things.
Everybody's capable of having a really bad week, aren't they? I mean, it doesn't make you a particularly bad driver. You have one bad week. It all happens to the best of us. You never know. It could be you. Ayrton Stefano, though, was having a fantastic day, and that came to an end after a crash earlier, but now trying to pick up some of the pieces. This not for position in class, but will be a well-needed shot in the arm if they can get this pass done in the final couple of laps. I told you earlier Dimitrov was catching Savalainen out front, and that was the case. It was 2.9 seconds. Something else has gone on, because it's now 3.4 seconds the gap. Ayrton Stefano going into the grass, going the long way, and now has the inside into turn 2. That should be just about all they need to get by Matt Artem, and in fact clears him before it gets to the corner. Final 4 minutes of the race. We didn't get that rain, stayed cloudy throughout, and beyond that, nothing to complain about for the track conditions. But I would say, Ted Edwards, and do correct me if you disagree, but typical Bathurst race today.
Yes, and Yeah, I'm surprised there's no rain, which is a shame. But oh, here's Martin and here's Stewie, well-known friends of each other, very competitive when they race, and you can see it here. Porsche versus M6 is, oh, that's 3 minutes of the race, and it's heating up between these two. It's pretty nice to see.
Ted, last weekend, these two drivers were teammates, were they not, in another championship or another series?
And they walked away with third. Am I right?
They walked away with third, and that was that particular race had a prize pool, so they made money. They made bank off of that as teammates. They're not teammates tonight. You didn't need me to tell you that because you saw how hard they were racing each other right there for 12.
Yeah, very, very good racing from both of them. Just, you know, it doesn't matter if you're friends or not friends. It's you've still got to play it clean. But I see Jordan Daly's behind Martin Lawrence as well. So three friends in a row.
Well, they're not friends right now. It's 2.5 minutes to the checkered flag of Race to a Night Owl. Friends, I don't have any friends. Who said I had friends? That'd be my take.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't know anybody. Don't want any. Never heard of them. Oh my goodness! Final 2 minutes of the race right about now. Alex Rogers coming out of the Forest Elbow has a little bit of work left to do. Ryan Lenoir in front of them. Audi on Audi, Watson in tow. Watson would very much cherish an opportunity to get a spot back here. Savalainen leads Dimitrov. Bokita, your top three, and likely your podium finishers. Ryan Yee will likely take over the championship lead tonight. Madison in P5. Foch has done a great job with that car. The sole remaining Lexus in the top 10. Foch always ends up being a part of it, even if they're not a topic of discussion in qualifying. They will finish 6th unless something untoward happens. And then from 7th on back, your guess is as good as mine because there they are in one picture.
Yeah, everyone's doing very well tonight. Even the Silvers doing pretty well for themselves. You know, I haven't seen anyone, touch wood, in the Silvers that have had any major incidents. I don't even think I've seen them have any penalties apart from, I think, one that got disqualified. I think that was the 49, maybe it would have been silver, I can't remember. But done very well. Seidman's done amazing in the Honda. You may be looking at it like, well, shouldn't they be in Pro? But the Honda could just be really good around here. And the other Silver drivers may not be as good around Bathurst, you know. Some people are very good at other tracks, and some people are not very good at the other tracks. So it's just one of those things. You know, it might come to the next race, and Seidman might come last in Silver. It's just one of those things at the end of the day. But yeah, it's been very good racing today, and it's very nice to see. And what is this?
Oh, Vonco's had an issue. Vonco's had an issue coming out of the elbow.
That is
he's
broken.
crashed before he got there. He crashed into the S's, and he had further contact there, and that's going to let Bokita through. How many more cars is that going to let through? In the worst case scenario, I'm pretty sure our leader, Savalainen, is going to make it to the line before the end of the race with only a second or two remaining. In fact, he just did. He's going to have to do another lap as Dimitrov now. Completely damaged car, crunched Lamborghini. How many cars are going to go through? He can't even make the turn. The suspension is damaged. The car is destroyed, and this is the final lap of the race. The leader just going through turn 2. It's going to be a long old lap, or does Vonco think they only have one chance, and that's to come into pit lane? It looks like they're thinking about it, and they are. And what a turn of events. Would have finished second, had it in the bag, crashed it on the penultimate lap of the race. That releases Savalainen. They were within 3 seconds. Salvo now enjoys a 10-second lead on Bokita. Ryan Yee, the Canadian driver in the 7 McLaren, is going to get his podium. Incredible stories and stuff happening at the end of the race. You can't ever take your eye off the prize. Oh my goodness. What have we just witnessed? What have you just witnessed?
Tyler Jason Lavallee has parked it.
He sure has. He's actually been in our chat, continuing his the sportsmanship of the race. completely apologetic for the accident with Martin Lawrence. Says he missed his braking zone, and yeah, it must have been Tyler must have been frustrated with himself. Head up, Tyler.
Tyler was in the Nissan, yes. Oh, that's a shame. He did very well, but here comes Savalainen, second to last corner. Done an amazing job today,
what can
Jesse.
You say?
Yeah, Savalainen showing us.
What can you say?
Yeah. And here he comes. Going through the last corner.
Damn.
Getting a bit of curb. And there he goes. Savalainen wins the race, gets Speed Juice fastest lap, and wasn't in any incidents.
Damage or not, it didn't matter. Nobody could catch Juna Savalainen, who wins it in Season 10, Race 2, on the mountain here in Night Owl. A brilliant run. Ryan Yee, Bokita's had a crash. Bokita's had an incident. Ryan Yee,
no.
Ryan Yee for back markers. It's coming through. The Canadian driver, P2. 2 shuffles on the podium on the last lap of the race. Ryan Yee, second place. Bokita home in third. Madison will be promoted to 4th in the Honda. Samir Foch, the man who always finds a way, P5 in the Vroom Esports Lexus. Incredible drive. Renoir, Rogers, Watson, Mellis, and Seidman's going to come across the line. Casual Driving Association on that Honda will win it in high silver. Heilman 11th. Eraser and Artem will be 2nd and 3rd. In the high silver class. Ted Edwards, have you ever seen anything quite like that?
So this race, what is it? I come to broadcast today, and everyone's been so close racing, and then all this at the end happens.
Yeah, do you know what it is?
I'm privileged to be hosting today's race, broadcasting today's race.
But do you know what? But do you know what it is?
What is it, Jesse?
It's Night Owl, baby.
It's Night Owl, baby.
You just can't ever turn a blind eye to anything. We sit here week in and week out. We preach. You cannot give up until you get to the flag. This is why, folks. Bokita had it in the bag, and it didn't work out. And the Lamborghini had it in the bag. Didn't work out for Dimitrov. Ryan Yee, patient and consistent all day. Sat in no man's land in 4th place. Ends up getting 2nd place. Wow, Savalainen wins the race, but behind him, very dramatic. Yee and Bokita, your podium spots. My goodness, what can you say about a race like this? You know what the great thing is, Ted Edwards? We get to do it all over again next weekend.
Oh, we do. Hopefully I'm back for it, as I am away for a few days, so it might just be you and Mawson, but yeah, it's next week's going to be interesting. We are at Silverstone next week, so you know, being the Jubilee and all that, so it's going to be a bit of fun. Hopefully it's going to be like today's race.
It certainly is. I don't know if we'll get Savalainen in for an interview, but we do have 2nd place. I'm going to bring Ryan Yee in. We're going to talk to the Canadian. Ryan Yee, I don't know if you have a magic wand. I don't know if you've ever been to Hogwarts, but that was some magical driving there in the final couple of laps. Tell us about your race and your run to the flag.
Well, for the most part, my race was actually just pretty uneventful. I didn't have any cars in front or behind me after the first stop, but the last, I think, third last lap, one co hadn't off, so I got, lucky with that position. But I thought that was it, but then Bokita also hadn't off on the last lap, which was very surprising to me. So that gave me another spot as well.
Ryan, you came in, you finished 2nd in the first race, and you came in seeing probably that Martin Lawrence was not up there with you. You had to have been thinking a little bit that it could be a big points day, but nobody could have predicted how big it is. 2nd place again, bridesmaid maybe, but a boatload of points the rest of your competitors at the top of the grid haven't got. You are the points leader now.
Oh, that is very spicy. I was planning on taking Foch's P2 as the dedicated P2, I think he was calling it, something like that. But I went a little bit too far this time.
Well, it's fantastic. What were you thinking? You clearly you must have saw what happened to Dimitrov and then Bokita. You had to drive by both of them. I mean, how hard is it to focus? Everybody else around you is having problems, and all you have to do is keep it together. Did you lose focus at all during all of that, or was it just get it to the flag?
It was really just for me get it to the flag. I was down on pace by like half a second or more for the whole race, so I just got, very lucky at the end, and I just kept it clean and out of the wall.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't win the race, but he might feel like he did. He won the war today. Your new points leader in Night Out Season 10, Ryan Yee. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Well, we got second place. Well, let's get third place. Felipe Bokita. What on earth happened? It looked like you had it in the bag for second. A couple of late incidents. From your perspective, Felipe, what happened?
I cooked it. There's not much else to it. Just after the spin I had following behind the Lambo, I had this really weird feeling in the steering, and it wasn't like flat spots. I even checked the tires. There's no flat spots, but it just felt really like rubbery and heavy. And then on the last lap, I was just trying to take it safe, and I went too slow and over-rotated into the fence. So yeah, that was interesting.
What were you thinking? You will have seen Dimitrov's incident or driven past them. What were you thinking after that occurred? Because you had one more lap to go. Were you, like you said, you were trying to just, oh my goodness, take it easy.
Take it easy. Bang.
Felipe, is there anything you could learn from this race? I feel like it was just bad luck, but is there anything that you could learn?
Is a good one.
Yeah, well, you should have been watching pre-race. Ted Edwards said that exact thing in pre-race. I asked him what would the keys to winning today was going to be. He said keep it out of the wall. I had no idea Ted was going to be that right on.
Unusual for me.
Well, Felipe, it was a lot of points, though. You were down in 20th place. You didn't get points for the first race. I don't think you were actually here for race number one. You got a boatload of points when other people faltered. It might have not been second, but it was still a podium position. Well done, all things considered. You're back in it. You're back in the hunt now.
Yeah, we'll see. I know I have to miss out on another race in July, so we'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, Felipe Bokita, third place today, and what a spirited race it was. Well, Ted, I don't know what to say after a race like that. It's Night Owl, baby. Things get a little strange, don't they? And today was no different. And I think the big takeaway today, if there was a final thought, it would be don't take anything for granted. And even the best drivers can make mistakes sometimes. You said it yourself, buddy. Keep it out of the wall to win today. And strangely enough, I think the only one that did that was Ryan Yee.
Yeah, he drove amazingly. A lot of people drove amazingly. Some people were backwards. Or not amazingly, but no. Here we are. That's the unfortunate crash that happened going down from Skyline, Felipe. So that's what we missed, and that's what we have now seen. But yeah,
well, Felipe told us that they were just driving a bit slower, so to speak, trying to not be involved in an accident themselves. They get themselves into trouble, and this is going to be the pass right here, isn't it, where Yee comes through. This is on the last lap, mind you, coming to the checkered flag.
yeah, it's just one of those things, but still finished third. The Lamborghini obviously took themselves out into a wall. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Finished third, still got the points, sitting as I see now in sixth in the standings. So yeah, as you say, Ryan Yee has taken the first in the standings. So that's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Well, what a race we had. Folks, if you liked this race, we have more for you. We'll be back with you for the continuation of the British Masters Championship this Monday. I might even be on that broadcast with the guys. And of course, the Friday championship continuing. I think we still have one more week before the Thursday championship goes live. You still have time to sign up for that. And that is touring cars, the BMW touring car and GT4s combined, two different classes of racing at the same time on Thursday. I think it starts in a week and a half. You still have time to do your sign up and pre-queue. And as a big reminder, you can sign up mid-season for any championship that is ongoing. You don't have to wait for sign-ups, or you don't have to wait for next season, rather, I should say. You can sign up at any time. Seb Brunier pointed out something interesting from today's race. We had 9 different cars in the top 10 when we started. Well, the top 6 were all different manufacturers at the end. Very crazy stuff. And of course, we'll be back at Silverstone this coming Saturday night for the third round of the Night Owl Championship. It's been anything but boring thus far in the first 2 rounds. So, again, like, subscribe, hit the bell for more GT racing action. You're not going to want to miss it. And a big thank you, of course, to all of our partners that make this race and every race possible. RaceDepartment.com, your source of sim racing news and information, of course. AK Informatica for providing our server solutions. Driver61 and Driver61.com. If you would like to be a better and quicker sim racing driver, get yourself some driver coaching over at Driver61.com, and we have a discount code for you to get 25% off your first driving coaching lesson at Driver61. Several of the admins here at RCI have taken up that offer, and I can tell you certainly it has definitely worked for them. I've driven with a couple of those drivers, and we got a trophy every single time. It can work for you as well. Big thank you, of course, to Fanatec. Feel free to use our affiliate link when making purchases of quality sim racing hardware at fanatec.com. Using our affiliate link just tells them that we sent you, and it doesn't cost you a single thing, and it may help us with things like server cost when you use it. And of course, simracing.gp. If you're tired of pub racing or just want to be involved in more community-driven racing, all you got to do is sign up to simracing.gp and join a community. Get racing today. There's races on there on the daily, and it's a fantastic service to use. Ted Edwards, final thoughts on what you've seen in Australia today.
I saw amazing racing today, Jesse. I think it's something we've been missing from Night Owl for a while, and just to see everyone at the end, we had a stack of 5 cars still racing. I saw across the line, Daly was chasing Martin, was chasing Stewie, so Daly got back up there, which was nice to see. And yeah, there's a few mistakes. It's Bathurst, people are going to find a wall. We all do that. There's only a few penalties. There was a one disqualification, but Stewart's dealt with that, so very well done. I really enjoyed it today, and being on the cameras was a little bit weird, but I didn't mind it.
Well, we do thank you, of course, this race only because Mr. Ted Edwards stepped up and brought you the race. Otherwise, we would have just had to move on. And what a shame that actually would have been. I've been on 2 different broadcasts this week where that has occurred, and it would have been a shame not to get them in. So thank you again, Ted, for pulling the unenviable double duty and bringing us this fantastic race. Juno Savalainen won it, and every car except Ryan Yee in the top 5 seemed to have had damage today. Yee's your championship leader, and everything is all mixed up and upside down in Australia, as you might expect. Folks, thank you for watching. We'll see you in 1 week's time. We'll be live back on Monday for the British Masters Championship. And until then, have a good night.